God, we thank you, Lord, for laughter. We thank you for love. We thank you, God, for you, for a place to worship you freely, a place to sing songs unto your holy and righteous name. As we just remember all of the promises of you, God, as we remember how beautiful it is to serve you. And then, Lord, when we come and lay our prayer requests and we say, pass me not, oh gentle Savior, Lord, write the blessing on the folks. Oh, Lord, don't forget about me. Lord, you heard my cry. You know that I have some needs. So, Lord, I don't mind if you bless my neighbor because I know you're in the neighborhood. Oh, glory to God. Lord, hear my humble cry. I thank you, Lord, for your faithful servants showing up to hear a word. I pray, Father God, that you will decrease me, Lord. Though it is my voice, let it be your words to go forth, and let your people be blessed. And we'll be careful to give you all the glory, all the honor, and all the praise. And all the saints of God said, amen.
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 Amen. So we certainly give honor to the Lord in this place. I'm always excited for Sunday mornings. You know, there's a lot of days to look forward to, but I sure look forward to Sunday morning. So as I said, we're not in a series. We won't start a series probably until October, unless the Lord says different. So every week is kind of like the regular preacher surprise. You just don't know what you're going to get. And so today, I'm going to tell a story. This is a little different, but this is a true story about a father and a daughter. So there's a daughter who complained to her father that her life was miserable, and she didn't know how she was going to make it. She was tired of struggling all the time. So her father said, follow me to the kitchen. So he took 3 pots and loaded them all up with water and started all of them boiling. So in one pot he put a potato, one pot he put an egg, and the other pot he put coffee beans. She said, what is this? What is the purpose of this? He said, just hold on. So when he finished and everything had come to a boil for however long, he took the egg, put it in a bowl, took the potato, put it in a bowl, put the coffee beans, and poured them in a cup. He said, what do you see? She said, a potato, an egg, and some coffee beans. And he said, now touch each one. So she went to the potato. He said, what do you feel? She said, it's soft and it's weak. He said, go to the egg. She said, it's hard. He said, now what about the beans? And she leaned over to the coffee. And he said, she smiled on her face. And he said, now you decide. He said, all of them dealt with hot boiling water, but they all responded differently. The potato got weak and soft. The egg got hard. But the coffee decided to have a sweet aroma, and then it flavored the water. So every time we're dealing with hot boiling water, we're dealing with different adversities, we decide, am I the potato, am I the egg, or am I the coffee bean? And that's going to be our subject this morning. So please turn to Job chapter 1. Job chapter 1, the potato, the egg, or the coffee bean. Because all of us are going to deal with adversity. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about that. The question is how we respond to it. So before I give you that, before we get into it, here's a lingering question. As you're thinking about that, of which way I'm going to respond, keep that in mind as we read today's text. Because we're going to talk about 2 people who dealt with the same adversities, a husband and a wife, but they responded differently. And so it's proof that all of us right here can experience the exact same thing, but we won't all respond the same way. But you have to decide, am I the potato, am I the egg, or am I the coffee beans? So please stand as we give honor to the Lord's word, Job chapter 1. And just as a background of who Job was a married man with children. He was doing fairly well financially. He lived in Uz. He was an upright man who feared God and avoided evil. And the devil was looking for somebody to mess with. That's the part when I said we're going to talk about Job a little bit on Wednesday night. The devil was going to and fro, and he's up there with God. And God said, what are you doing? He said, I'm going back and forth. We're not going to take shit. Trying to find somebody to mess with. And God said, have you considered my servant Job? Now that's a whole nother message that we're going to get to when we do Job. But God said, have you considered my servant Job? And the devil told him, he said, I would get Job, but you got a hedge of protection around Job. So the devil had already been up on Job. Why? Because Job was an upright man who feared God and avoided evil. So the devil already knew, but he told God, you got a hedge of protection. So God says, all right, I'll remove the hedge of protection. Go ahead. Why would God do such a thing if he loves us so much? Why would he allow the devil to mess with Job? Great question. Job, the devil comes in and he takes all of Job's livestock. He took all of Job's children. And then he took Job's house. And the devil still wasn't happy. He comes back to God the second time. Because God said, what happened? Job still loves me. Job still praising me. I thought you said he was going to curse me if you took away all this stuff. So the devil said, I know why he's still loving you. He's still loving you because he still got his help. So God said, okay, here's the thing. You cannot kill him. That's why I say it doesn't matter what the enemy brings on. We don't leave this earth. When we decide we're God's children, we don't leave this earth unless he deems it such. So go to the text. So first go to Job 120 through 22. So this is after Job has lost everything. Okay? This was Job's response as soon as his servant came and told him everything that left. Job chapter 1, verse 20. When you got to say, I got it. Job chapter 1, verse 20. It says, then Job arose and rent his mantle. So rent means tore his clothes. This is a sign of mourning. And he shaved his head. He fell down on the ground and worshiped. Hold up. You lost your livestock. You lost your children. You lost all your money. And he got down on the ground and he worshiped. Look at verse 21. And he said, naked came I out of my mother's womb, and naked shall I return thither. And the Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. In all this Job sinned not, nor charged God foolishly. Coffee beans. So now the devil comes back. Keep your Bible open. We're going to look at in chapter 2. So now the devil comes back, and this is when he says, okay. The reason Job didn't curse you is because he still has his health. God says, okay, I'll tell you what we'll do. So now go to Job chapter 2 in verse 6. Because the devil swears up and down that Job is going to curse God, that Job is going to give up on God. So go to chapter 2, verse 6, and it says, and the Lord said unto Satan, behold, he is in thine hand, talking about Job, but save his life. So Satan went forth from the presence of the Lord and smote, means struck Job with sore blows from the sole of his foot unto the crown of his head. And he took with him a potsherd, that's a piece of broken pottery, to scrape himself withal, and he sat down among the ashes. And then his wife said unto him, dost thou still maintain thy integrity? Curse God and die. Verse 10. Now what would you say she is? Definitely an egg, because she got hard, or she could have been a potato, because trouble came and she got weak and soft. And now she's ready to get up. Look at verse 10. But Job said unto her, thou speakest as one of the foolish women speaketh. What, shall we receive good at the hand of God, and shall we not receive evil? In all of this, Job sinned not with his lips. So our subject this morning, as I said, is the potato, the egg, and the coffee bean. You may be seated in the presence of the Lord. The potato, the egg, and the coffee bean. So remember, all three dealt with the boiling water. The potato got weak and soft. The egg got hard on the inside and out. And the coffee beans flavored the water and created a sweet aroma. So when we think about the fact that as long as you live it, you're going to deal with adversity. That's just it. A couple weeks ago, we did the facts of life. Y'all remember, you take the good, you take the bad, you take them both, and there you have facts of life. I know some of you a little too young, don't remember, maybe I catch you on YouTube. But it was a TV show that talked about all the different things that we deal with in life. And the question every time is, how are you going to respond? It's not if trouble is coming, it is when trouble is coming. And then, here his wife is now. This is what I always say, because a lot of times, my male preachers will always dog out Job's wife. But remember, Job's wife lost all of her children too. She lost all of her livestock too. And she lost her house too. So we can sit over there and servants, livestock, and children. So we can put them down and say, she ought to be shamed, curse God and die. How could anybody say that? But she's hurting too. And so she responded differently than her husband. If you go back and read the story of Job, Job was a priest in his home. That's the responsibility of the man. You're supposed to show the family how to lead and follow the Lord. And so Job would always pray over his children. When they would get together, they used to always go to the older brother's house. And he would pray just in case his kids did anything wrong. He would pray for his children. So he showed his family how to walk in the way of the Lord. And now, here comes trouble. And you could say, why in the world would God allow the enemy to attack his upright, faithful servant? And I'm going to tell you why before we even ever end up doing the study of Job. Because God knew he could trust Job with trouble. God can't trust everybody with trouble because some get the potato. Oh, God, Jesus, oh, God, I give up. I just can't do it no more. You know, they just fall out. Every time something happens, you just be like, golly, come on now. Have a little bit of faith. You know, buck up. Because here's the thing. As we walk with the Lord, we should be growing stronger. What I went through last year, that period of emptiness and loneliness, I wouldn't have been able to handle that before. I had other preachers way before then that was like, oh, I'd quit if I was you. They would have been just like the potato. Soft, weak, trouble came. I'm out. I ain't doing this no more. And then sometimes we become the egg. We get bitter and we get hard. See, that's why I don't go to the church no more. See, that's why I don't fool with them church folks no more. See, that's why I don't give no money to the church. See, that's why I don't fool with them folks no more. We get hard and we just shut everything and everybody out. Hard, the yoke gets hard, the white part gets hard, and all of a sudden you just can't even get in there. And then in the flip side, you got the coffee beans who also endured that hot water. And what did they do? They flavored the water and they created a sweet aroma. As Christians, we're called to be the salt and the light. Salt, we should add flavor. We should be atmosphere changers. There should be a difference when we walk in the room. You know, when I told you it was surprising because a lot of times preachers don't get the respect they used to get back in the day. And I was surprised when I was talking to one of the guys when we were passing out stuff in the gospel crusade, and one of them was drinking and he slid his drink behind there, and then the other one was smoking and he's hiding a cigarette. And I laughed because I was like, you know what? I've been out before where they be like, yeah, preacher, you know, whatever, right there. And it's not that you're supposed to act any different, but there should be some respect for the man or woman of God. And so when we walk into the room, all the foolishness that was going on shouldn't continue on. There should be some kind of something about you that makes people want to do different. And even if they don't stop doing it all together, at least they stop doing it in front of you. And then when the scripture says that we are to be the light, meaning we're supposed to point people to Jesus Christ. That in the world of darkness, there should be some light within us. That the light of Jesus Christ. So we're supposed to be like the coffee beans. That when we get into adversity, that we don't respond the same way the rest of the world does. And as a stronger Christian, someone who has walked with the Lord, you should respond the way that a babe in Christ does. So you could have said, yeah, back in the day, that would have taken me out. Yeah, back in the day, I would have let go, but now I'm stronger. What do they say? Now I'm wiser, now I'm better. I don't do what I used to do. Why? Because our faith in God should grow as we continue to walk in Him. We can't be the potatoes. We can't be the eggs. Our job is to be the coffee bean. We got to be like Job. Job didn't like what happened. Anybody that says Job loved it is a lie. Job was sorrowful. He was mournful. He tore his clothes. He shaved his head. You took all my kids. You took all my kids. You took my livestock, my servants, and now I have nothing. But Job's first response was to worship God. I wouldn't have believed all of that as much had I not gone through what I went through for those 2 years. I told you weird illnesses. The doctor, that one lady said, I'm going to take my glove off. I just want to touch it with my hand. They having everybody come in at OSU, the teaching hospital, because, ooh, what is that? I just had all this weird stuff. Had a virus in hospital 3 days. Nobody ever, they called it a virus because they said, we really don't know what's wrong. And all I told you, y'all were here. I said, now, Lord, the way I know you ain't going to kill me is because I believe you would have told me to start this ministry and you was just going to do all this and call me home. So I knew he was going to bring me through it. And I was just kind of like, okay, I don't know why I'm going through all of this, but I will tell you this. I called on the word of God. I'm stronger because of his word. And the Lord did give me strength. So now I understand Job more since I have been through the boiling water. I understand his response now because he's saying, I got what I got because God gave it to me. So he said, shall the Lord give? Is his to give, is his to take away. So when the Lord gives us and blesses us, oh, praise God, hallelujah. And as soon as one thing I see, that's why I don't trust God no more, because that don't even make no sense. I can't believe he did that. We always want to We don't like, it was another preacher, and I said I was going to steal it from him. But he talked about the subject was addition and subtraction. We rejoice over the addition. And Lord, we act a fool when the subtraction comes. But sometimes you get stronger in that subtraction, and it makes you more grateful for the addition. So here's Job. Job's first response is he worshiped God. He said, I came into this world with nothing. I'll leave this world with nothing. And all of this, it said, Job sinned not. So it's in here that you see be angry and sin not. God gave us emotions. There's nothing wrong with being angry. But how do you respond in that anger? When you're in the midst of that boiling water, you're going to be a potato, you're going to be the egg, or you're going to be the coffee bean. Every day, saints, we deal with adversity. Every day. It can be in your household before you leave for work. It can be at work. Lord knows there's a lot of adversity at work, right? Because there's a lot of personalities. And then it doesn't know. You go to the grocery store, somebody could cut you off. Anything. Definitely driving in the car is dealing with adversity. And every day, every situation, we respond. Potato, egg, coffee beans. I pray that we all get to the point of being coffee beans where we can be like Job and say, I don't understand. I'm going to be honest, I don't even like. But I do trust. I do trust you, God, to take care of me. Because if you go back to the conversation between God and Satan, God is the one who protected. But remember, Satan said, I can't touch him because you got a hedge of protection. Satan already knew. He already knows all of God's children. He said, but you got a hedge of protection around Job, his family, and all that he owns. So God said, okay, I'll remove the hedge of protection. And then the second time, he said, you got a hedge of protection around Job's body. You're protecting his body. Because have you ever seen other people get struck with illnesses and you still just fine and dandy like nothing happened? I was sick all the time. I'm so glad I got rid of that. I got my tonsils out at 40. Ooh, Lord. And I'm glad it was before I got to the new job because they took all your vacation and sick time and combined it together. Yeah, so I'm glad there was a previous job where I had separate sick time, but I didn't go 3 months without being sick. I was sick all the time. And they were like, you came to work? I was like, who got that much vacation time? I didn't. But I just had to suck it up. But I went through just a lot. And it was like, okay, we're going to get through this. And even when you don't understand or don't like what God is doing, because we don't always. I didn't appreciate what I went through last year, not then, but I do now because I am stronger. And now when stuff comes up, I'm kind of like, okay. I made it through all of that other stuff. I am like so good. You know what I'm saying? You really do get stronger. You think about when you struggle raising one kid, you got the second one, you're like, oh, that stuff that used to bother me before they died. Why? Because you have that wisdom of it, right? You've been through it. You know it's not a crisis. You know it's not the time to turn into the potato and get weak and give up. You understand, okay, we made it through with little salad soup. We're going to make it through with little Billy Bob. All shall be well, right? And so through all of our situations, we have to decide, how am I going to respond? Who am I going to be? And here's the other pressure of being a Christian is that people are always watching you. Heaven forbid, they find out you're a Christian. Oh, yeah, because I saw what you did when you went through blah, blah, blah. You're like, God, I'm human too, right? But everybody's watching you. But the one that's most important to please is the Lord. Can he trust you with trouble? Can he trust you with adversity? Can he trust you to be like Job and not sin while you're hurting, while you're crying, and while you're sad? Can he still trust you not to sin? And here's the thing, saints, if you fail the test the first time, don't worry, you'll get another chance. God is so good like that. He always gives you another opportunity. Why? Because it's for your good. Our job is never for it to be about us. Remember when we talked about Peter and Jesus told him, he said, when you are converted, strengthen your brother. What did he say? You're going to go through this, but now I need you to get strong and help somebody else. We have to understand that our job is never just about us. The Lord didn't call me to preach to me. He called me what? To help other people. But I didn't get here on my own. Why? I got here from all of these different preachers and all of these different deacons and other strong women of God who poured into me to get me to where I am. What am I doing? Pouring into y'all so y'all can do what? Help somebody else. And that's the whole thing. And so even with Job, we get all of this beautiful story. When you read the whole book of Job, you'll see how Job also influenced his friends. Because his friends were like, hey, what you do? You did something. You sinned against God. All this going on, you did something. And sometimes it's not that we did anything, we didn't do anything bad, we were just living for God. And God said, I can trust Job. Job will be a great example. So you go through and you look at your life. I can see times that I passed a test. And I'm going to be honest, there's some other times like, yeah, I didn't do so well in that one, right? But the goal is, saints, to do better next time than you did last time. That's the goal. So when we look here, and then we look at all that Job went through, so he had boils. I've never had any. I heard they're absolutely painful. From the bottom of his feet all the way to the top of his head. So can you imagine the agony that he's in? So a potsherd is a piece of broken pottery. Now you got to be in a lot of pain to scrape yourself, and that feels good. It said in all of this, Job said, "Nah, shut your mouth." Really? Wow. That's a lot. And then his wife. That's why I say I always, men always, and the wife, that negative wife, blah, blah. But I told one of the deacons, I said, do you understand that she lost everything her husband lost? He said, oh. And I said, yeah, she lost all of the servants. She lost all the livestock, and most importantly, she lost all of her children. And she said, you should curse God and die. So then she really will have nothing. You won't even have a husband. And it wasn't that she really wanted her husband to die. The woman was hurting with all that happened. Because here's the thing. We know about the conversation between God and Satan. They don't. All they knew was in one day, gone. And the next day, her husband is just infested. So she gave the reaction that Satan wanted, because Satan said, when you take away everything from Job, he's going to curse God and die. He's going to curse you. And she came along with the response that Satan wanted. But her husband, the priest in the home, said, absolutely not. We can't rejoice when good comes our way and then get mad and give up on God when trouble comes. Here's the reward. Flip to the end of Job, chapter 42. I'm going to read you the short little part right here because I want y'all to leave discouraged. And you leave on happy note. So Job chapter 2. Job 42. You know what the happy part of it is, though? Even though, and this is the part that comes in growth, and I'm going to be honest because I wasn't always able to read the book of Job and find good in it. But the fact that Job remained strong in God, to me, was good news. The fact that he didn't give up on God was good news. The fact that he wasn't caught up in all the physical possessions, to me, was good news. Now, don't get me wrong, losing a baby I wouldn't wish that on anybody. I had a baby brother, I don't even remember him. I was 2, he was 1, and he died. And my parents went through that. My mother got her tubes tied because she said she never wanted to go through that again. And I said, if he was still here, probably $1 million of us. But she said, she never wanted to go through it again. You couldn't get her to talk about it. Even my dad to this day won't talk about it. So I would wish the death of a child on anybody. But I also understand that that's not a reason to give up on life either. My mother was only 19 years old. My dad was only 21. So what if they gave up on life with a 2-year-old, 4-year-old, and they lost a 1-year-old? So you can't give up on life either because hard times are going to come. But here's the thing, none of us are going through this by ourselves. None of us. And it may seem like God left us. It may seem like he forsook us. It may be like, really, God, you would let Satan do something to me? But here's the thing, is that we're going to go through the troubles of life anyway. Whether you serve God or not, you're going to go through the troubles of life anyway. The benefit is that we're not going through it by ourselves. The benefit is there is a hedge of protection around us. How many times you've been in a car and you could have died in accidents and different things? How many times something happened to other people? I gave the thing I talked about on Wednesday on Bible study. My friend Carmenita lives in Aurora. Her son was there. They were going to the movies. Y'all remember they got shot up the movie theater? So she lives right by the movie theater, and it was the opening of Batman. And she said something kept telling her, don't go. And at the last minute, she told Joseph, we're not going. So Joseph, man, because we want to go to the opening. What woke her up? the sirens for the shooting that was going. When I tell you there's a hedge of protection, yes, some of God's children did go on. He called them home, but he also protected my friend. When they had the Las Vegas shooting that went on, 2 of my coworkers were there. One of them is my trainer at the gym. The other one works on my floor. She was like, I'm going to go to the bathroom. He decided to go with her. That's where the guy was shooting. If they had not gone, they wouldn't be here today. So when I say that there's trouble that's going to come anyway, but don't believe that God is not aware of where you are and what you are doing. I could have lost my friend Carmelita that night, her and her son. But God protected them. She just kept saying something, kept saying, I got to go. She was like, I got to be at work at 6. The movie didn't open until 12. They weren't doing it until 12 o'clock. The sirens woke her up. My coworker, her boyfriend, right there. That's where he was shooting. So you can go through all of that by yourself. Or you can go through it knowing that you have the protection of God. Knowing that you have somebody who's watching over you. Knowing that you have somebody who cares and is concerned for you. I'll take that over trying to go through it on my own. I tried life by myself. And here's the thing, if any of us could have done it by ourselves, we never would have given our life to the Lord. And that's just the truth of it. Because I didn't give my life to the Lord just so I could go to heaven. I need him. And I need him every day. Every day. But here's your good news. And some of the preachers say, here you shall. Okay. Let me find it. Okay, go to Job chapter 42. Read the whole 42 if you want to. Go to verse 12. No, go to 10. It says, and the Lord turned the captivity of Job when he prayed for his friends, and the Lord gave Job twice as much as he had before. Why? Here's his reward for being faithful. The Lord rewards us for being faithful. Verse 11. Then came there unto him all his brethren and his sisters, and all they that had been of his acquaintance before, and did eat bread with him in his house. Because if y'all read the whole story, they ditched Job. They like, bro, you did something wrong with you. And everybody left him lonesome. Now everybody back. You know how it is when you get restored, you start getting some stuff and Job show up, right? So they all ate bread with him, and they bemoaned with him, and they comforted him over all the evil that the Lord had brought upon. Every man gave him a piece of money. Hallelujah. And everyone an earring of gold. Why? Because his friends were convicted for the way that they treated him. See, here's the restoration of it. Verse 12. So the Lord blessed the latter end of Job more than the beginning, for he had 14,000 sheep. I didn't read everything he lost, but this is double. 14,000 sheep, 6,000 camels, and 1,000 yoke of oxen, and 1,000 she-asses. And the benefit, here's the benefit, before we talk about how women usually don't get names, the benefit of the women, the female ones are the ones producing all of the babies. So when you have a whole bunch of females, you can keep producing, sell the livestock, you get more money. Verse 13, he also had 7 sons and 3 daughters. Look at this, the daughters get a name, 14. And he called the name of the first one Jemiah, the name of the second one Keziah, and the name of the third Karen Hapuk. I may have pronounced it wrong. 15. In all the land were no women found so fair as the daughters of Job, and their father gave them inheritance among their brethren. Let me stop right there. Here's the culture during that time. Women could not inherit. But Job gave an inheritance to his daughters as well as his sons. Good Job. 16. After this lived Job 140 years. So he got to enjoy his blessings and saw his sons and his sons' sons, even 4 generations. So Job died being old and full of days. So when I said that I told you the old people always say I wouldn't take nothing for my journey, what are they talking about? All the hard stuff that I went through made me better for who I am today. And then the Lord allowed him to live a long time with his blessing. It wasn't like he got it one day and then the Lord called him home. Just like I know all that I went through was for a short time, and I know I'm going to see the benefit to this ministry long beyond the 3 years. Well, the whole 3 years weren't hard. But through all of that, you go back and you look at your life, look at all the hard stuff that you went through. The good of it always outweighs the bad. The length of the good is always longer than the bad. So here's my thing. When Job went through all of that stuff, how many people saw what he went through? Okay, obviously his wife, The person who came and told him everything that he lost and all of his friends, and you know how church folks talk. So you know all throughout all the different communities. You heard what happened to Job, right? Do you know he's still suffering, child? So all of these folks, they talked about Job, but here's the thing. When God restored Job, guess who showed up? All the folks that talked about Job. But here's the thing. Who got to see the miracle? All of those same people. I had somebody, when I started the church, there was another female preacher who I saw at the Gospel Crusade. And I saw her when I first started church. Oh yeah, well my ministry this, my ministry that, blah, blah, blah. Guess who asked me, when you need somebody to preach for you, call me. Oh, you're going through your Job period right now, you got a little humility, right? Back then they didn't want me, now I'm hot, they all up on me. Remember that, Mike Jones? So what I'm saying is that when you're going through your suffering period, God purposes where so many people see you. Because when I tell you, talking about you won't die from embarrassment, you plan a second anniversary and nobody comes, I promise you, Holt, suck me down, because this right here is the epitome of embarrassing. I show up Sunday morning, nobody's here, everybody know I'm preaching to an empty congregation. Embarrassing, right? So then on Wednesday, I go through and I'm doing the Bible study. You got anybody to join church yet, Pastor? No, praise God, hallelujah. You run into folks, what I tell you, oh, how many people do you have now? Because, it's been enough time. So a lot of people know how much the ministry has struggled. But guess what? A lot of people don't know when it comes to fruition. So it is embarrassing. It is hard. And all that physical stuff I went through, how many people told me, why are you bothering to go to the church? Don't nobody come anyway. I didn't care how much I was hurting. I didn't care how hard it was. I showed up here. I would be here ready for whether somebody came for Sunday school or not. Why? Because my pleasure was not in me. It was for God. Because he told me what to do. So it was just like what Job went through. It sucked. I'm not going to lie. It was really hard. But I'll be honest, to see y'all here today, it was worth everything that I went through. When I had people come and tell me, I told you I had other preachers, I watch your on Wednesday. And I told you, nobody gonna tell you nothing, they watching nothing, right? But it was like seeds. You're still planting seeds. You don't feel like it because you're counting apples. You're focusing on what you see. But you don't realize God is using you. What did he tell Peter? When you are converted, strengthen your brother. Because I know you're going to come out of this. You're going to fall. You're going to mess up. You're going to jack up a bunch of stuff. And everybody don't see. All the other disciples sit back like, there go that Peter again. See, I told you. I don't even know why Jesus keep using him. But when Peter raised up, Peter was the one who was leading the meeting, picking the next disciple. Peter was the one who was building churches. Peter was the one who was going and telling other people how to lead. It was Peter. Yeah, he had some stuff that was messed up. Just like with Job. Job didn't do anything wrong, but God knew he could trust Job with trouble. God knew that he was using Job to get to other people. I knew that what I was going through wasn't about me. It wasn't because I was so special, it wasn't because I was so bad, but I was faithful unto the Lord. And I know that the reward is coming, and the reward is going to be greater than whatever it was that I had for the beginning. I'm no respecter of persons. The way that God used me is the same way he'll use you, just in a different way. But you better believe that people are watching you. Are you the potato, are you the egg, or are you the coffee beans? I was determined to be the coffee beans. I told people all the time, they're like, you always smiling. I thought you were happy with what was going on. Absolutely not. But I did have joy in my heart. I knew that the Lord was using me. I knew the Lord was going to bless me. I knew I was going to make it through. And so it was like, that's why every Sunday I showed up just as cute as I could be. No, wasn't nobody coming. Why? Because I was doing what the Lord called me to do, and I knew that he was going to bring it to fruition. And that's why I say, y'all just don't know. I'm at the point of anticipation because I know that this is the change. This is the season. This is when it is coming. If we don't faint, if we don't give up. But you can't be the potato and get weak and give up because life didn't turn out the way you thought it was going to be. Who ever thought I'd be 47 not married, no kids? That wasn't on my agenda. But I'm not going to punk out and be like the potato and just go grab the first thing I see and marry him and bring hell and damnation on all of us. I can't be like the egg and be mad and, they got married. I can't stand the married folks. Yeah, you think he's something that he ain't going to be nothing later. You've seen those bitter people. Sometimes the bitterest people are church people. They just some of the meanest folks. You just be like, man, why you show up for church every day? You can be a coffee bean. hot water and make it for my good. I'm going to take this hot water and turn it into something good. Because you know what I did? I studied and I prayed a lot during those hard times. And every time, y'all can watch the sermons, but I'm going to tell you what's funny to me when I run into people and they say, oh, that just blesses my soul to know you were still preaching. And I'm like, for real? When nobody was here. But I'm telling you, you can watch it. You would swear up and down. There was folks in here because I got so happy. But it was just the Holy Spirit for being faithful. That's like with Job. Through everything that Job went through, he never gave up on God because he loved God with all of him. He didn't love God for what he gave him. He loved God for who he is. And that's how we have to be able to see. Job or no job, I still love the Lord. Spouse or no spouse, I still love the Lord. Jacked up kids, jacked up spouse, jacked up job. I love the Lord and I will worship him and I will praise him at all times. And so you have to decide what you're going to be and how you're going to respond to adversity. It's coming. But you have to go through it by yourself. And if you don't believe in the power of prayer, start praying. I promise you, prayer changes things. I was so scared to start this ministry. And I have this board with all of these post-it notes, with all these scriptures. Because I needed the Lord. And I repeated his word every day. I would go and I would read those scriptures every single day. And I'm starting to see the fruition of it. One of them was the prayer change as Lord enlarge my territory. I told you it was countries. Watching on YouTube, I had to look them up, never heard of them. I got people in all time zones watching on Wednesday for Bible study. Say what now? Enlarge my territory. He didn't do it then because he wanted to see, are you faithful? Are you about the numbers or are you about quality over quantity? And so what I'm saying is that all of us are going to deal with it, but you have to decide how am I going to respond. And I pray that we all decide, I want to be coffee beans. I want to add flavor, and I want to be a sweet aroma unto the Lord. I don't want to be the one that punk out every time something happens. I don't want to be the bitter person because life didn't turn out like I thought it was going to turn out. I want to be the coffee beans, black sugar, no cream. That's me right there. Amen. Y'all feel better now than before? Here's your points. The potato. Have you allowed the adversities of life to weaken you and make you want to give up? It's easy to do, but we must focus on our end goal and realize we will never get there if we quit. The egg. Have you allowed the adversities of life to harden you on the inside and out? Have you given up on God and other people? None of us will make it through life on our own. Do not be afraid to let other people in. And I've seen people like that. They have a bad relationship. They give up on every relationship. And it could be with friends. It could be with a significant other. I've been hurt. That's it. I'm done. It's over. I refuse. We talk about Song of Solomon, the beauty of the intimacy between a man and a woman. I'm not giving up on life. I'm not giving up on this ministry. Because I know what God has. So I can't be bitter because it didn't turn out the way that I wanted it to. It will, but in his time, not mine, right? Don't blame others because the water is hot. The world is full of evil. There's no denying that. But remember, Satan does not have permission to kill you. I'll give you another analogy. It was a frog with the boiling water. If you take a frog and you put him in boiling water, he will immediately jump out. But if you take a frog and put him in cold water and you slowly heat up the pot, he'll stay in there and die. So you have to decide, am I just going to let life consume me? Or am I going to be the one to get out? You've got to realize what situation you're in and then how you're going to respond to it. Every day we make decisions. I said this before. Every day we make decisions. So you have to decide, potato, egg, or coffee beans. Coffee beans. Have you allowed the adversities of life to strengthen you and make you an atmosphere changer? I pray that we will all draw strength from Job. He chose not to honor God. He chose to honor God regardless of the circumstances because he realized that God was still good. Yep, he took my servants. Yep, he took my livestock and even the children. I can't explain that. I can't say, oh, yeah, I get it. I don't. But what I do know is that Job held on to God, and God blessed him with double of everything. He rewarded him for his faithfulness. I don't know how much time was in between, as I always say, chapter 2 and chapter 42. I don't know how much time was in there. And we don't know how many chapters are in between the suffering and the fruition. But I know that if we remain faithful saints, I know we're going to see the end of it. And here's the thing, God was still blessing Job in the midst of it. And even all through the things that I've been through in my life, he still blessed me. I'm still here. I tell people all the time, I didn't die. And neither did you. Other people gave up on life, but you didn't. You're still here. So what you going to do? The Lord gives and he takes. It's all he is to give. Job had a hedge of protection around him and his family because he loved God and honored him. It was a test of faith for Job to go through what he did and not walk away from God. The good news, like I said, was the Lord restored Job. And look at all the people who knew about Job's suffering and all the people who got to see his faith and all the people who got to see his recovery. He was the coffee bean. He was the atmosphere changer. He was the one who said, yep, the boiling water sucks, but I am not going to give up on God in the midst of it. And so, let me just say this. As a pastor, it is my job to help you live an effective Christian life. So every message is not, rah, 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 God is good, hallelujah. We walk out of here skipping, right? But I want to be able to help you that when adversity comes, you have something to draw on. You can be able to reflect and say, okay, I know I will make it through this. I know that I don't have to stay in the state that I'm in, and I know I don't have to go through it by myself. And so no pastor who says that he loves his sheep, loves her sheep, is going to sit over here and say, I'm only going to give you the good stuff. I'm only going to give you the dessert. You're going to end up with cavities. You got to learn how to chew on some meat. This is meat. They talk about the milk. That's what you teach to people who are babes in Christ. So I know we're all in different walks of Christ, but here's my thing. All of us going to live with boiling water. And I don't want any of you to turn to drugs, alcohol, suicide, or anything because trouble comes. Trouble is going to come, but I want you to make it through. And then I want you to be able to help somebody else. Because that's what we're here to do. We love the lost, we seek the lost, we love the backslider, we equip the saints of God. So to equip you means we build up those spiritual muscles. And then our job is to go and help somebody else, whether they are the lost, the backslider, or the saints of God. So every day ain't a happy day. But Job did end on good news. He did get restored. The Lord blessed him with more. And here's the thing, we don't understand God. We don't know why he does what he does. I wish I could explain it, but anybody that tells you they can explain God is a lie. He said, my ways are not your ways, my thoughts are not your thoughts. You don't know why I do, but you just have to trust me. And then trust that what I want for you is better than what you want for yourself. Amen. Amen. So, we now open the door to church on the happiest note ever. I will trust in the Lord. I will trust